Hello and welcome to the Woolly Bee podcast. This is episode number 1. My name is Sarah. My username on Ravelry is MacAttack, and my username on Instagram is Mac08Attack. Hopefully I'll get that put in at the end. But thank you for joining me. Today is Monday, September 19th, 2016. And we're going to get started. This is a knitting show, primarily knitting, but there's going to be some cross stitch. In the future, there may be some spinning. We'll see. We'll kind of go into that later. But it is a crafty podcast. So I want to say thank you for checking me out. I have no clue what I'm doing. But I'm hoping that this lasts for more than a couple episodes. So time will tell. It's one of my mottos, but you know. So first up, we're just going to go a little bit about me. Sorry, I have all my stuff here. So I'm trying to take a look at it. But I am coming to you guys from Charlottesville, Virginia, which is here in Central Virginia. It's about an hour west of Richmond, give or take. I am here as a University of Virginia grad student in the Curry School of Education. I am studying to get my Master's of Teaching. So I just started about a month ago, and I have another year and 3/4 left, or however you want to look at it. But I am looking to teach earth science. I did do my undergrad here, took a year off, came back. So I do love the university very much. But otherwise about myself, I have been knitting now for 11 years. I hit my 11-year anniversary earlier this month, which is sort of terrifying. I'm not that far off from hitting the point where I've been knitting more of my life than I haven't been. So that day is coming. I have been crocheting, maybe 14 years. That being said, I don't do it regularly, but I can do it. And I've been cross-stitching for probably about 13 years, again, not regularly, though I have picked it up in the past couple years. So that's kind of all of that. I am from Northern Virginia. I grew up about an hour outside of DC. That's where my parents still are. So there may be future episodes where I'm recording from home. There will be at some point. I just can't say for certain. But yes, I live about an hour outside of DC, so I have all the perks of DC without all of the crazy. We're a little farther out. And so it's a good place. But yeah, that's about what I've got for that. Some of you, maybe not, I have no idea. You're going to hear me talk a lot about fiber space throughout all of these episodes, primarily because that's where the vast majority of my stash is currently from. I was lucky enough to work there for just over a year. I left so I could come back to school. But I have a lot of really good friends that are there. A lot of friends, staff-wise, everybody on staff I love dearly. And then so many customers have been so lovely. So they may get mentioned from time to time in various capacities. But yeah, I do maintain a connection with the shop. And so you're going to hear me talk about that. That's why. If you've never been, I do recommend it. It's a great place, but that's kind of why there's going to be so much of that over as time goes on. But let's get into the knitting. I don't usually have finished objects because I don't tend to knit that fast. I can knit fast enough, but like I have a life and I get bored. I am generally a monogamous knitter, but I am going to show you my last 2 finished objects. My first one is the Pop Twizzle cowl, which I totally did not think about designer names. Hang on, I really don't want to do this, but let me pull up the designer name because you guys may actually want to know these things. And I would look it up on my tablet, but I'm recording on that. So, hang on guys. If you don't like bright colors, you may want to look away. This is really, really, really bright. I love it. So this is Pop Twizzle by Leslie Ann Robinson. Available on Ravelry. It's actually part of an ebook. I bought the whole ebook. I have plans to knit the other 2 projects, and by plans I have yarn. But this is a cowl. It's a large, big, giant cowl, and this is what it looks like. I love it. It is bright pink. And it's amazing. It's amazing. It is a DK weight. brioche knit cowl. So here's what it looks like up close. Oh, I hope these colors are somewhat accurate. So here's what it sort of looks like. There we go. So I knit this out of Hedgehog Fibers Merino DK. I used 2 different colors. So this bright pink is called Harajuku. I don't have the tags, unfortunately, with me. They're probably in my bedroom, in the leftovers. But pink is Harajuku, and the contrast color on the inside is a speckle. Now let's see if we can get this to be more color accurate. That'll do, I guess. This is Genie, which is an undyed with lots of speckles of bright blue, bright green, bright orange, and bright pink. So it coordinates with the pink. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. You can see all the colors there. It is just a fun, big, giant, squishy cowl. I absolutely love it. You kind of love it or you hate it, but I love it. So I can throw it on, wear it as one big loop, though it's really big if I do it as such. So it will almost certainly be doubled, kind of like that. And because it's brioche, it's 2-color brioche, I can reverse it as I feel like it. For lack of a better term, the pink is more subtle, but there is something about that speckly goodness that I absolutely love. So it is big, it is squishy, and someday it will actually be cool enough to wear the darn thing. Today is not that day. That's okay. But I used just over a skein of each color. So you definitely do need 2 of pretty much most DK weight yarns. That being said, I did alternate. Sorry if you can hear that. That's my air conditioning. So hopefully it's not too loud. But I did alternate my speckle, which was my contrast color. It's a pain in the butt to alternate contrast colors in brioche. It's possible. I did it. I don't recommend it. Actually, I do recommend it because these skeins are about as well matched as they were going to be when I bought them. When I wound them into cakes, you could tell that one clearly had more green speckles and the other had way more orange and pink. And I was like, I'm going to get like this far into the cowl, I'll have to switch and it's going to be different. It's going to drive me nuts. You'll never regret alternating. You'll always regret not. It's kind of what I say. So I did it. It is a pain in the butt. So yeah, somewhere in here you could probably find the seam where that happened. It's, from the naked eye, pretty darn seamless. But I did that. But it's super squishy. This yarn is amazingly soft. So if you can ever get your hands on Hedgehog DK, Merino DK, go for it. It's a great yarn. And I'm very excited to wear this. I did not block this. I was going to. And then when I took it off the needles, I wove in my ends. I just kind of shook it like this, but more forcefully. And that's all it really needed. I didn't bother. The edges were scalloped enough. I did not want to make them pointy. I called it good. The thing was going to take forever to dry because it's so thick and squishy, so I was like, I'm just not going to do that. You know, whenever it needs to get washed, it'll get washed, but until then, I have the world's brightest cowl ever, and I love it. But I have enough in my leftovers to make something else, so I am torn between making mittens of some kind where the genie is like the main color or the outside or something, I'm not really sure. Or I have enough to make a different cowl. Wavelength, I believe is what it is called. It's just a zigzag cowl that alternates. As you change color, you're changing from stockinette to, I believe it's reverse stockinette, it might be garter. But I may do that as well. That being said, that project is going to probably be way down the line. Because this is really eye-searing, and I don't need to knit this again anytime soon. But I do have a fair number of skeins of this base in my stash for other projects, and I do kind of want to make an epic brioche thing of some kind with all the leftovers. So, who knows? But, so that is that. I love it. I mean, highly recommend it. And if you don't want it to be that crazy, go subtle. Totally doable. Next up is a shawl. It is not blocked, but it is finished. I finished this on Friday or Saturday. Probably Friday. Oh, I still have a stitch marker in here. Hang on. I'm going to take that out. So this is my unblocked Lilyanna shawl. Actually, that works really nicely. So it is a crescent-shaped shawl. This is for my mom, and she knows she's getting it. That's generally how all of our knitting works. She picks it, she buys the yarn, I knit it at some point in the future. There are no promises on when, but as long as I'm consistently making stuff, all is well. So here it is, unblocked. So the way this shawl works is you actually knit the border first. So let me show you the border up close. It's a cable lace border. So you really can't tell right here. So there's lace right here that will block out, and then the cables, of course. And then once you've done all of the repeats of that border, you go and you pick up along the edge. So right along here, kind of where all these little eyelets are that you can see. And then you do German short rows for the body of the shawl and then bind off up here. It should stop curling when I block it. We will see. But I knit this out of Hazel Knits Lively DK in the Terrywinkle colorway. It's coming up a bit more purple on screen than it really is. Let me see if... Yeah, it's not quite this dark. It's a pale purple with a subtle tinge of periwinkle to it. If you look at the original pattern, Lilyanna by D. O'Keefe, it's the exact same that the original was done in. And I actually may have my leftovers here. This is how much I had left. I have not weighed this yet, so I'm not quite sure how much this is, but it uses 2 skeins of DK weight. My mom saw this, it was about 1.5 years ago at Fiberspace, because Dee is a local teacher at Fiberspace, so if you're interested in her designs, which are all amazing, highly recommend them. I've knit a handful already, have yarn to knit many, many more. She does teach a lot of classes on her shawls that teach lace. But my mom had seen the original sample for this, fell in love with it, and of course she has like zero vision when it comes to these things, wanted the same color, which is not like her because she usually hates purple. But she does look really good in this purple, whereas I don't. I look much better in dark purple, but she wanted it. We finally got a hold of the yarn, which is not hard to get, but long story there. Finally got the yarn back in the spring, and here it is. So this will get blocked, hopefully this week, so I can show you guys next week what it looks like. And then I'm going to be home in a couple weeks, and so I'm going to give it to her then. Side note, because this is how this episode is going to go, I do plan, hope and plan to record weekly, but it all really depends on my schedule, my homework, and if I've actually worked on anything that I can show you in terms of progress. So we're going to shoot for every week, might be every other week. I'm not quite sure what day of the week either, which I know is really terrible. It'll be somewhere between Friday and Monday, because I am like busy all day, Tuesday through Thursday. So keep an eye out for that. It'll probably be closer to Fridays, but I'll try to keep you guys updated as that happens. And so that is that. Let me show you my work in progress. So I am a monogamous knitter generally. I usually only ever have one thing active on the needles. I do have a handful of projects if you go on my Ravelry page that say whips. And for one reason or another, they may be actual whips on the needles. I haven't touched them in months or years. But they're there, and they're not hibernating for some certain reasons. They're there. But I am generally a monogamous knitter, which I know is not the best for podcasting, but it is what it is. That being said, there will be times that I will do more than one project. I want to cast on all the things, but I can't do that all the time. So So here's what I am working on. I am knitting some Skew Socks. So here is my first one. Actually, let me show you the yarn. So I am knitting this out of Knitterly Things Vesper with nylon. So here's the first cake. I actually have two skeins, and you'll see why. Knitterly Things Vesper with nylon in the Kaleidoscope colorway. Here is my tag. I got this back at Fiberspace back probably in February. But these are for my brother. He is 18 going on 19. And I have been talking to him for a while about knitting him something. I've never knit him anything because he is a teenage boy and he doesn't get it. So I was kind of like, I really want to knit this kid something, even if it kills me. And I know that crazy socks are a thing for guys these days, and about this time sometime last fall, he went to homecoming and he wore crazy socks. I was like, this kid, crazy socks, there we go. Crazy socks. So back in February, there was a shipment of Vesper with nylon that had come into the shop. I had picked a couple colorways for me, and I think I just needed an excuse to buy more yarn, which I usually don't need to justify these things, but this time I guess I did. I don't know. And I talked to him, I was like, would you wear socks if I made them for you? And he said, yeah, I would. And so we picked out the color. He picked out this Kaleidoscope from a couple different options. Basically any that had more than one skein. And so I actually have another skein in this bag. This is a vintage Tangerine Designs bag from back in the day. But here is my second skein. Totally lost my train of thought there. So he picked out the colors, and on 2 separate occasions I set up a Ravelry search for him. Alright, we're learning about how this whole tablet recording thing works. Apparently there's a maximum size the files can be, and we reached that. But I was saying that 2 Ravelry searches where I tried to filter down to only patterns that he would work for giant man feet, and nonetheless Skew snuck in there twice. It is not as originally written size for giant man feet, which he has, which is why I have 2 skeins of yarn. He wears size 13 shoe, US men's 13, which means that his feet are 11 inches long and giant. I can actually put shoes on my feet and fit them inside his shoes. His feet are that big. I have average women's 8.5. They're fairly wide, but otherwise fairly average feet. His feet are like a city block. Which I knew but didn't quite want to accept when I undertook this project. But long story short was I told him the first time that I could not knit these socks for him because they were not big enough. Because as written, they fit my feet. I have knit 2 pairs of these for me in the past. Fit my feet great, weren't going to fit him. I eventually found with some searching that the designer, who I cannot remember either, if you search for Skew Socks, you'll find, I believe it's Lilyanna Holden, but I will look that up, put on her blog from like 6 years ago, kind of on the seat of your pants mods to make this a size bigger, to make it bigger. So I am using those. There is a project page out there that kind of breaks it down a little bit further. It's still not line by line, but that's what I'm using. Yes, Skew is by Lilyanna Holden. Look at me go. So I'm knitting that. You can see the colors better if I hold this up close. Ooh, that is not purple. Okay, so the colors in this are like a mid-blue, a royal blue, apple green, brown, bright turquoise, it's about that bright, and orange. So the only color on here that's not accurate is this one. But basically the mods just include, if you increase this section to here. Normally you just increase it further and here. And I had a whole bunch of straight bias knitting. That was a struggle to get up to the right length. So this is about the length of my entire foot. And we're just starting the heel. But I'm just barely beginning the heel, which is why this is starting to flare outwards right up here. So I'm beginning the heel gusset increases. Feels so good. I think this yarn is going to wear like steel. That's the hope. So we're going to see how this goes. I am hoping to God that these fit his feet. They may not. No idea. So we're working on them. But so that's what I have currently on my needles. I'm knitting this on two 24-inch Chow US 1.5 needles, which is a 2.5 millimeter needle. I don't normally knit my socks on 2 circulars. And for these I actually knit up to about here or here on double points. Because this is a bias sock, you're increasing on one side, decreasing on the other. Where your needle break is going to eventually just have all the stitches on one side and none on the other, and I just didn't want to handle that. And I knew that I had 2 circs that were the right size that I was going to try. Jury's still out on how I like this method, but it's working really nicely for this sock. So that's what I have, and works in progress. Next up is going to be cross stitch. I have not touched my cross stitch in a good couple weeks, but we're going to pretend like I have. So first up, I have not actually touched this project in like a month, and I'm not going to take it out of the frame, but I am working on the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Summer Beach Day stitch along. They did an autumn one a couple years ago. I stitched that up. This is their summer companion. At some point they will do winter and spring. So they're fairly small, but I'm working on this. I have, if we look up close, I have most of the sunshine, the beginning of some popsicles and some ice cream. These are going to be watermelon slices and lemon or orange or citrus. And then there's a girl and a boy on the beach, and then down on the bottom there'll be more. So I'm working on this. This is being stitched up on 28 count crystal, I think it's casual, I'm not really sure, from Picture This Plus in the coastal colorway. So I don't know if you guys can see, yeah, see the sparkle that's in the fabric. So that's that. And then if I reach all the way over here, this is gonna put out on me again, this recording. I am also working on, I do a lot of Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, so you guys will learn that. I am not yet done with Clue 1 of the National Parks Birthday Club, but we're getting there. So here's what I have so far. Ooh, you can't see that at all. Okay. Let me grab the back of a notebook. See if this makes a difference. Ah, much better. Okay. So this is the National Parks Birthday Club. It's a mystery stitch along. So the first clue were these 3, there'll be a third border on the bottom, and then in this space here and the one that'll be below the middle section will be 3 national parks each. This is to celebrate the 100th anniversary or birthday of the U.S. National Park Service. So up here we have 1916, over here will be 2016. National Park Service, obviously. There's a little tent and some birds. This bird needs his feathers. That particular color my Michaels was out of for the longest time. I finally got it the other day. And then, of course, this land was made for you and me with some lovely trees. And then the bottom will say Centennial, and we'll have some snowflakes and some fall leaves. So kind of like spring, summer, fall, and winter. I am knitting this on some mystery blue 32 count linen I got when my local needle workshop was closing over a year ago. So that is that. When I get around, if ever, to getting this done, because I think the next clue may come out this week, unclear on that, I'm going to start the Trick-or-Treat Costume Club by Frosted Pumpkin, and I have fabric and thread for it. I just have not started it. I get into these mojos and these grooves, and I had kind of lost my stitching mojo. And so I have all my threads on here. And I have fabric. Again, this is not quite that purple. Actually it is, but I'm going to use from Picture This Plus their 28 count casual, no sparkle, in the Whimsy colorway. Because the original pattern was calling for Da Vinci, which is a purple like this, but with orange streaks. And alrighty, I think we're starting to get this tablet thing not really figured out, but we're going to make it work. I was going to go this week into enabling because I went to the Miss Babs trunk show at Fiberspace a week and a half ago, but my tablet doesn't have enough space. So I will show you really quickly just a couple things, and we'll go from there. I did order separately because I really like yarn from Hazelnuts for their color of the month. I got 2 skeins of Artisan Sock. I got Joyride, which is pink. I love it. It's amazing. Gorgeous. And Starry Night, which is deep. Got some nice variation to it. This is probably one of my favorite yarns. So, a couple skeins of that. And then some of my goodies from Babs include some Killington, which is a Polworth silk sport weight, 700 yards. And Hot to Trot, it's bright pink. It's on par with my cowl. I got some Kira in Sea Life, because it matches my eyes. I got a little skein of Sojourn and Water Wheel, which should be a cowl. I got a Yowza in Sunday Fun Day. Not normally my normal colors, but I kind of love it. I got some Caroline, new base to me, which is lovely. I got it in Dark Andromeda. Again, not my normal color, but I was talked out of the yellow, so I got red. Some Yet in Intensity. I love this yarn. So inexpensive, so well wearing, so beautiful, and it's wool and silk. Can't go wrong. I got some other goodies in here. I got lots of gradient sets. I got 4 actually, because why not? But those are just some of the goodies that are in there hiding away. I am hoping to go this weekend to the Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival, which is up in Berryville, Virginia. It's about a couple hours here from Charlottesville. Sorry, I'm trying to get all this way. I'm hoping to go. The weather looks like it's going to be really good. I've never been, so we'll kind of see how that goes. I don't know if I'll buy anything. Realistically, I probably will, but we'll see. So I will be sure to share any goodies that I get there if I get them. Otherwise, thank you so much for checking me out. Thank you for sticking with me through all of the technical glitches. They will surely be more down the road. We're going to get this figured out, and thank you. Bye, guys.